A is for Allah, nothing but Allah. Ba is the beginning of Bismillah. Ta is for taqwa, bewaring of Allah. And Tha is for thawab, a reward. Ja is for Jannah, the garden of paradise. Ha is for Hajj, the blessed pilgrimage. Kha is for Khatam, the seal of the prophethood given to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our program Learn Arabic. I think that we discussed so far the 4 alphabets in Arabic. Alif, Ba, Ta, Tha. And I think that we are still under our discussion for learning how can we write the alphabet Tha and how can we pronounce it. I have also, first of all, just to present all my guests today, Sama from Egypt, Mahmoud from Egypt, Khalid from Bangladesh, and Muhammad from England. Welcome to all of you in my program.
Okay.
And so how do you see Tha now? How do you see the sound Tha in Arabic?
Myself, I really find it difficult, even though it's kind of similar to the THA or TH in English.
Okay.
I really find it difficult to pronounce it. And, and sometimes just when you sit with teachers and they tell you, put your tongue up, put your tongue down, and pronounce it like this and this.
Right.
I mean, it's really difficult for new speakers to pick up, even though it's kind of similar.
Okay.
But I really find it difficult.
Okay.
But
So,
I
yep.
think, Ahmed, that the most of the time we learn the pronunciation of any language.
Yep.
We wanted to learn by imitation. So we have to listen more and to imitate. Just
Exactly. I
okay?
think that I think, Osama, here you are explaining a very important point, which is because we have a lot of schools for teaching and learning languages.
Yeah.
Some people say that if you like to learn language, you should start by imitating native speakers. Some, on the other hand, say that if you like to be perfect in language, in Arabic, for example, you have to learn each alphabet, each letter, how can we pronounce it, and how can we write it.
Yeah.
But in my humble opinion, I have my own opinion about that. If you can combine both approaches, that would be perfect.
My question is, sometimes we go to different parts of the world where they speak different side of Arabic because we have different side of recitation in Arabic, which can confuse you if you even try to imitate one and you think, okay, I might be wrong. So you try to imitate this one,
Right.
I try to imitate this one.
I think Muhammad here, you are actually saying something could be. I appreciate your question. Really appreciate that, because actually in the Arab world, let me just handle the notion of the Arabic language in the Arab world, or probably which is described in the West as the Middle Eastern countries. And let me just take the point of Moroccan Arabic, or the Arabic language in Morocco, and the Arabic language in Egypt, and the Arabic language in the Gulf area. If you just have a visit to Morocco, and if you just try to speak with them in Moroccan dialect, you probably may be confused. You may not understand them completely. I have a friend of mine who is from Morocco, and when he speaks actually Moroccan Arabic dialect, it will be very difficult for me as an Egyptian to understand him. It's really difficult. Yeah.
I think when it comes to the classical Arabic,
Here is my point.
I think it's one. I have a comment on
Yep.
what you said, Muhammad.
Yep.
In Arabic, it is easier to imitate than
Yep.
in English, because
Okay.
in English we have many dialects and many accents,
Okay.
but in Arabic just one accent.
Yep.
That is the classical Arabic. You can
Right.
listen to it and just imitate it.
Exactly. I think that also, if you'd like to learn more about the Arabic dialects, here is the first thing. In Arabic, we have the classical Arabic language, which is probably the language of the Holy Quran. This is probably called the classical Arabic. I think that none of us today speaks classical Arabic in our daily life. I mean, we just speak, in Egypt, for example, we speak the Egyptian dialects.
Slang, yes.
Right. But
We
on the
have-
other hand, Osama.
Please, here I think that we have 3 levels in Arabic here.
Right, okay.
We have the classical Arabic,
Yep.
and then we have what I say. This is the old or the archaic now.
Okay.
Okay, the language of poetry.
Yep.
Okay, and works of literature.
Yep.
And we have also what they call here in Arabic the language of the cultured people. Or
Okay, I see. That's your point.
I also
educated.
Yep.
also made to comment on my colleague's point, which
Yep.
he said that you should follow the classical Arabic, or the main Arabic, the Arabic in Quran, as you said.
Right.
Like, you see, like when you live for example, I live in Egypt, and
Yep.
I'm following the classical Arabic, and when you go outside to people, the Arabic is different, so you have to adapt to the Arabic and the classical Arabic in order to speak to them.
Right.
But you really get confused in the middle of that. So you
I
don't really
see.
understand what they're saying.
I see.
Ahmed, but
Yep.
I see that we should not be boggled down, or we should not be confused about the dialects in Arabic, because English also abounds with so many dialects. We have the American English, we have
Right.
British English, we have Canadian English, we have
Right.
Australian English.
Right.
So just stick to one dialect and learn it, and then it will be
Right.
very easy to learn other dialects. Okay.
Right.
So
Okay, Mahmoud,
And
you have
I
a comment.
think يعني I don't have a problem to mix.
To mix. Oh, you're right.
Why not?
That's true.
Yeah,
But
that's-
I think that probably could be a problem for just who would like to learn Arabic. So they might be confused. Which language should I learn, or should I have a standard language in Arabic? I think that is, and as Usama said now, and as Mahmoud contributed also, that is in Arabic. We do have the classical level of Arabic, which is the language of the Holy Quran and the language of poetry and poems and stuff like that. But when it comes to the second level, which is the standard Arabic level, I think in such a way you can find also probably could be very important to learn the standard rules for Arabic language. And then we have spoken educated level of Arabic language. That's probably very important also to learn. Look, for example, at the language of the press and journalism in the Arab world. You can understand, probably could be different from the classical Arabic in Quran, but at the same time, it can be completely understood. Also, we have to remember also that even in the Arab streets today, you can find the slang. And even the slang has different levels. I mean, the slang you can
Even-
find... Yeah.
For example, even in English, we have
Yep.
different slang. We use different words
Right.
like for example, for say hi, hello, or
Right.
yo, or just sound different words. So now
Right.
you see in the streets people speaking totally different English.
Yeah.
It's- you hardly find, probably in an office environment or maybe someone giving a presentation,
Right.
they'll be using like proper English, the actual English words. Otherwise, people will be using yo, hello, wagwan, and this kind of slang words, which
Exactly.
normal people will not understand.
Right,
Yeah.
I think that's true. I mean, if it is found in English, then it's also found in Arabic. And in Arabic also, if you'd like just to have a kind of classified linguistic approaches for slang, you can find, in Arabic we do have the educated slang, or the slang of the educated people, but also you can find illiterate slang for those who probably doesn't have any
Yeah.
background about education. They have different slang from my slang. And also you can find another different level in Arabic language, which is jargon. And jargon here means that the language which is used in a specific jobs, like for example, physicians, engineers, linguists, that they have their own terms, and that's why they have their own language. But again, here is the question: what kind of language should I learn in Arabic? I think that is, I would say, well, if you like to learn more about the standard level of Arabic language, combined with the classical level, and combined also with the slang level, I think that would be perfect. But I'm not just asking you just to learn the dialect of Egypt or Egyptians, or the dialect of Morocco. It would be really very hard. As I said before, my Moroccan friend, when he speaks Moroccan dialect, I would be completely confused about that. I couldn't understand his Moroccan dialect. It would
even
be
you
very
are
hard for
an
me.
Arab.
Right.
Yeah.
You see some of that. I still remember when I was in Sudan, people in Sudan say Yazol,
Yeah,
which
so-
means
yeah,
hey man,
friend,
something like
yeah,
that.
hey, man.
Right.
Yes.
So a friend of mine actually, who is a Sudanese and living in the U.S., told me before, hey Yazol, and I said, what does Yazol means? So even for me as a Arabic language speaker, I was confused about such Sudanese slang level. Can you see that? So now let's move on here to the slide. Here it is. So for tha, again, pronouncing the letter tha. Okay.
Okay.
But I have a
Yep.
problem concerning the pronunciation of letter tha.
Tha, yep.
Even in English, it's more difficult for me in Arabic.
Oh, really?
For example, I don't know if I have to get a great part of my tongue outside, or just to touch the teeth from inside,
Right.
not to
right.
get it out.
I see. Well, I think that is probably, if you just can practice that
Yes.
more than one time, you can find. Well, I agree with you, by the way. Sometimes also we make mistakes about that, and sometimes we make confusion between tha and sa, something like that. But if you just make a kind of practical training for pronouncing the sound tha in this way, I think that would be perfect to learn more about that. But I would like to learn how can I pronounce this sound, and I think, as Usama said now, by imitation, and as Mahmoud said, by learning more about the technical linguistic approaches. I think that is here, if you like to pronounce tha, the first thing here that we have to know is just to understand that this sound is voiceless. It's close, for example, to the sound tha in English when it comes in 3. Right. So can you pronounce it once again? Put your hand, please, at your Adam's apple. You can find that here. Tha. Tha. So it's voiceless. We don't have any vibration. This is probably the first point that we have to learn about tha. Also, another important point here is that the place of articulation. Place of articulation, as you know, that it indicates, it shows where is the position of the tongue and how can we produce the airstream, which are coming out from the lungs and just releasing out from our mouth. Here is the point. The airstream is coming out from the lungs, and of course we have no vibration at all at the vocal flaps. And after that, the airstream is coming up and going through the oral cavity. And as you know, that we have oral cavity and we have the nasal cavity. And in English, we have nasal sounds and we have oral sounds. And in Arabic, we do have also nasal sounds and we also have oral sounds.
This is where my question comes.
Yep.
Sometimes when you're pronouncing some of the Arabic alphabets, the sound comes from your nose and the pronunciation totally get wrong. So it's one of the problems that personally I have.
Right, I think that's true. And if you just have a look at, even in the English system, especially when it comes to the nasal sounds, you can find that the airstream are coming out from the nose. And if you make a confusion between both sides, I think that would be a problem because some people probably may misunderstand you. But when it comes to tha, I think in this way that the airstream is coming out from the mouth. And if in any sound, if you produce any sound, and if the airstream is coming out from the mouth, in this way it's described as oral sound. Right, can you see that? So we say tha. Tha. Okay, but let me just explain to you here something. The tip of the tongue. I'm saying here, place of articulation, it's interdental. So that means that the tip of the tongue, as I said before, coming between the upper and lower teeth.
Please, Ahmed.
Yep.
I have a question.
Yep.
So, we're speaking about the teeth. So, what is the case if there is someone who has no teeth? So, I mean, Ahmed, that here in the pronunciation of Arabic sounds, we are using different parts or different organs of speech.
Right.
We sometimes use the teeth, we use the tongue, we use the palate or the velum.
Yep.
So, what is the most important organ of speech here?
I think, Usama,
Yeah.
well, if somebody doesn't have teeth, I don't know.
So you're not gonna
probably
to master the pronunciation of this sound.
I think that we can discuss more about this point, but after having a break, please.
Okay.
We're gonna have a break, and after that, we will discuss our conversation about the Arabic alphabets.
Okay.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد
Story of Hajj.
لك والملك
This program is not about the rituals of Hajj, rather about the story that is behind each ritual of Hajj. The tawaf around the Kaaba has a story. The sacrifice has a story. The sa'i between Safa and Marwa has a story. The sacrifice of Ibrahim to his son has a story. Standing in the mountain of Arafah has a story. This program is not devoted only to those who are going to Hajj, also to those who are staying at home. Now, he is to call his father to Islam, to monotheism. Later on, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanding Ibrahim alayhi salam to sacrifice his only son. Another test.
Join Imam Kareem Abu Zaid in his program, Story of Hajj, as he takes us on a journey through the life of Ibrahim, peace be upon him, and teaches us the history behind each ritual of Hajj.
Huda, a light in every home.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the second part of our program, Learn Arabic. I think that Usama, in the previous part, raised a very funny question about How about those who doesn't have teeth? So how can they pronounce tha? I don't know, Sama. Probably the tip of the tongue touches the gum or the upper gum, something like that. But if they don't have teeth, I think that they wouldn't be able to pronounce tha in the right form.
Maybe you can squeeze between your gums.
Right, that could be. But I think that Osama also, Osama, you asked me a question about what's the most important part in the organ speech system here. I think, in my humble opinion, the most important part would be the tongue.
The tongue.
Because the tongue, as you know, that in Arabic, we have a lot of sounds which are produced by the tip of the tongue touching the velar ridge. Also, we have a lot of sounds that are produced by the back of the tongue touching the velum or the last part of the soft palate. And also you can find that some palatal sound like sh or zh, probably you can find that the airstream is coming through the two sides of the tongue.
Yes.
So I think that without tongue, yes, Khalid, please.
What about a person whose tongue is actually tied, you know?
Well, probably he wouldn't be able to produce any alphabet in Arabic. I think that is, it depends on different situations, and it depends on also how many letters would he pronounce. But generally speaking, when it comes to the perfect pronunciation for learning Arabic, I think that his tongue could be the most important part. Yes.
I think in any language you need any language. Tongue is your most important organ. You need to speak in order to pronounce any word.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Any language is important.
Also, it has the ability to move at various directions.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And that is why we have front of the tongue.
Exactly.
Which is subdivided into the tip of the tongue and the blade.
Exactly. I think that is Osama here. If you'd like just to have a look at the tongue here, you can find that the tongue, every part in the tongue here does have function, does have a linguistic function. I mean, the tip of the tongue probably is responsible for pronouncing that, for example. Then we have the front of the tongue is responsible for producing a sound. And then we have, for example, the back of the tongue, probably here. Can you see that? Here is probably the final part of the tongue is responsible for producing the sound ka, ka.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the sound again, please?
Ka.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, the last part of the tongue here is responsible for producing the sound ka. Ka.
Ka.
Can you see that? Can you hear the movement of the tongue?
Yeah.
Ka. Ka. Right. So, I think that is very important also to mention that is tongue here is the main player, the key player actually, for producing any sounds. Yes, Mahmoud, you have a question.
I have something to say, which may have nothing to do with our class.
Yep.
The tongue is the most important part of speech.
Yep.
Because it is the key to one's character.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is why it is the most dangerous part in human being.
I know. I think that's true, right? I mean, your tongue explains more about your personality. If you would like just to explain more about your ideas, then the first thing here is to use your tongue.
Yeah.
Yep.
We are described by biologists as speaking humans.
Right.
Okay, or speaking animals.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That's true. To get back again here to the slides, and here we have the three important elements, which is voicing the status, place of articulation, manner of articulation. We said before that this sound is a voiceless sound because we don't have any vibration. When it comes to the place of articulation, it's interdental because we put the tip of the tongue between the upper and lower teeth. And the manner of articulation is fricative. I think that's very important also because in Arabic we can find some stop sounds. So that means that we have, for example, for producing ba. Ba sometimes is described as a stop sound or plosive sound because the airstream, which are coming out actually from the lungs, are stopped in the mouth.
Yeah.
And then it's released suddenly with friction. That's it's released with explosion. That's why it's described as a plosive sound. But for this sound, tha, what's happening here is that the airstream actually is released from the mouth through a narrow opening of friction, and we have very limited space by which the airstream is released out from the mouth.
Yeah.
And that's why we have friction. That's why the sound is described as fricative sound.
Fricative.
So it's fricative, which means صوت احتكاكي, or a sound that probably has a certain level of friction, and also it's called oral sound, it's interdental sound, and a voiceless sound. So this is about tha. Now, that part actually is concerned more about how can we pronounce this letter. But when it comes to writing, so I think that we discussed also this point before. First, we write the body from the right to the left side, beginning with a small hook, and then continue straight along the line and end with another hook for the tail. Secondly, we place 3 dots above the letter. I think that this is quite interesting because we were talking before about ba, and here we put just 1 dot, and for ta, as you can see here, we put just 2 dots. We start from the right side here with a small hook, going straight the line and making another hook and putting 2 dots. This is about ta, which is probably could be very close to t, ta in English.
Ta.
Okay. So how about tha? Tha probably could be very close to ta here in this way. We also start from the right side to the left side. Here is that. Small hook, and then line, and then with another hook here, and then we put here 3 dots.
So basically, after alif, the next 3 letters just say there's the difference of dots.
Yep, I think that's right. I mean, when it comes to, but I think that is also here very important because when I put the dots here, if you just have a look at this, it looks like pyramid, something like that.
Yeah, pyramid. Yeah.
Right, something like that. Can you see that? But some people probably might be confused if we put the 3 dots here in this way.
But pyramid without base.
Without base, that's right. Exactly.
Triangle.
That's right. Right, and so if you just put the dots here in this way, I don't think that this is probably could be very familiar among the Arabic language speakers. But you should put that in this way. Again, small hook, and then another hook here at the end, and you put 3 dots here in this way. Right. I think this is probably
actually something interesting concerning the Arabic alphabet.
Go ahead.
Alphabets. That we don't keep the same shape of the letter when writing, when including this letter in words and sentences.
Exactly.
We don't keep this shape.
Exactly. I think that is very important because that's why in the following episodes we're going to learn how can we write such letter when it comes in the initial position probably could be different when it comes in the final position inside the word. We don't have a complete change of the shape of any letter in Arabic because as you know that one of the features that we discussed before is that a lot of the Arabic letters are connected together, which is something that probably may not be found in English. If you just have any look at any English-speaking newspaper, then you can find that the letters are disconnected.
Separate.
Disconnected, yes.
But in Arabic language newspapers, you can find that the letters are combined together.
Yeah.
And you can find a space between one word and another word. But inside the word, you can find that the letters are combined together. Right?
Yeah.
Right, Mahmoud.
But also, we do have some letters in Arabic that are disconnected. Stay disconnected.
Exactly, Usama. But here is the main point, which is most of the Arabic letters are connected together.
Yes, the
You can
majority.
also, in English, if you write with joint handwriting, you can join.
Exactly, that's right. So in handwriting system, for example, for writing, you can find, for example, that the letters in English, when you write any word, probably you can combine them or connect them together. But when it comes, for example, to the typewriting system, I think that they are disconnected. They are not connected together.
Yeah.
So let's move on here to the slide here, and we have in initial position, it's this letter is always connected with the following one. Now let me just show you how can we write that when it comes in initial position.
I think it's just like ba and ta.
Exactly.
It comes
Sam.
in initial position.
Exactly. I think that is very interesting to know that there are a lot of similarities between ba, ta, and tha.
Yeah.
And if you just have a look at this, you can find that is here. Can you see that? What I'm making now is that we are making a small hook,
Yeah.
and then we
In
put
a straight
3
line to the
dots.
right.
Right. And then we make a kind of line straight.
To the right.
Exactly.
The right
to the
side.
right side, right.
Yes.
Can you see that again? Here is it. Let me just write the word thalab, which means fox.
Fox. Yeah.
Right. So if I can write that here, so I write thalab. We're going to discuss more about lam, ayn. We discussed that before. But here is my point about tha.
Yeah.
So what's happening here is that I put 3 dots above the letter, which is here.
Yeah.
And if
Please,
you-
Ahmed,
yeah.
we are putting the dots here above the small hook.
Exactly.
So what is the difference if I moved it slightly to the?
Well, here is the main point, Sam. If you just would like, for example, to write that in this way, can you see the word here? It's without dot.
Yeah.
And can you understand this word if you write something like that? I don't think so. I mean, you cannot understand the meaning of the word here without dots.
I've also seen some people,
Yep.
Before they connecting to the ayn or some other word, they put a small little line to
exactly. Sometimes what they are making, rather than using dots, they make something like that.
Yeah.
No, I meant while you're connecting the word, a small line rectifying it.
Right. That's right. That's happening sometimes. But I don't think that this is probably the standard rule. If you'd like to write Arabic words in the right form, in the understandable form, I think in such a way you have to put 3 dots.
Yeah.
Well, this is my advice. And Osama here also asked a question about, how about if I put that here rather than putting them here? Osama, if you put, for example, the 3 dots, for example, here in this position, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, but please be very careful, because don't put the 3 dots above the following letter here this way, for example.
It get confused between Ra and...
Exactly,
You might
exactly.
just you might just think there's 2 thoughts.
Right, that's right. I mean, if you just put any dot in the following letter, probably you can completely change the
meaning.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's why it's in the right form is to put the 3 dots here or here, but please don't go to ayn.
To be in the safe side.
Right, exactly, to be in the safe side. Okay, got it.
Yeah, when you write join a letter with ayn,
Yeah.
do you have to? They have 2 ways. I see some people they join it the way you join it, and some people join it different.
Well, I think that's right. When it comes, for example, ayn here.
What's the exact?
Right. Let me just explain to you here. In Thalab, for example, what's happening here is that you can find here, well, here I wrote the word without any dots. I would like just to show you how significant such dots in the Arabic writing system. Can you see that? So this is the word without any dots.
Yes.
So can you understand this word?
I'll just see a couple of blanks.
Right.
No, but because we can just guess.
Right.
Yeah,
But
that is
for
all.
you, Osama, right.
Maybe you try and draw some pictures.
And even building on our background of learning Arabic.
Exactly, Osama, exactly. But for those who probably are beginners in learning Arabic language, I think that would be very hard actually
Yes.
to understand the meaning of the word here. So dots are important in writing the Arabic alphabets. So here is that. When you put that, the 3 dots here and combine that, well, do you remember when we were writing Sam as independent form?
Yeah.
So we have here another small hook. Can we find the same hook here? No.
No, yeah.
Can you see that? No. So we don't have here any hook, especially when it comes to, here it is, once again. This is the form of writing Sam, and we have a small hook here.
Yeah.
We have a line, and we have another hook.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Yep.
Concerning the pronunciation of the word and the dots, okay, you said to us that we stick to the dots. In tha, we have 3 dots.
3 dots.
But I met some people, Ahmed, that
Yep.
do change tha with ta. For example, the word salab, they say talab.
Talab,
and
right.
the change is, the meaning is still the same.
I think
there is no change here.
Right. I think, Osama, that is here very important. Because when it comes to talab, I don't think that this is a standard word in Arabic.
Yeah.
This probably could be Egyptian dialect.
Colloquial, yeah.
Right. So this is probably derivation, probably could be a different form for the word, but it's not the standard form for the word talab.
This is one of the examples I was saying before, show that this kind of pronunciation can be difficult for you to understand Arabic.
Exactly, exactly. I think that it will be very enjoyable to continue such a discussion, but I'm sorry, our time now is coming out. So, ladies and gentlemen, we can discuss more about the Arabic alphabets in the following episodes. I think this is the conclusion of our episode today. This is Ahmed Aditaw Sharafuddin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
A is for Allah, nothing but Allah. Ba is the beginning of Bismillah. Ta is for taqwa, bewaring of Allah. And Tha is for thawab, a reward. Ja is for Jannah, the garden of paradise. Ha is for Hajj, the blessed pilgrimage. Kha is for Khatam, the seal of the prophethood given to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.